Hey folks, Troy Dooley, the Beachside CEO. I hope you guys are rocking today. It's a beautiful Monday down here in Florida. End of the fourth quarter. This is the exciting part about, or not the end of the fourth quarter, but the beginning of the fourth quarter. We'll get this out. The cool part about that is this is the time to prepare for the new year. Don't be waiting till 2026. I don't care if you got to lose weight, you want to focus on your business, whatever. Now is the time to do that. And that's what I'm excited about. This live here today is sponsored by Thompson Burton, the law firm. Hey, if you guys need some good legal counsel, whether you're inside direct sales or somewhere else, they're the firm to go to. They've got, I think almost 50 attorneys now. They're in almost every one of the major industries out there, have some phenomenal top Fortune 500 clients. Great. So just want to say that, hey, I want to dig deep though and do a little bit of promo before we get in because I want y'all to understand this. What is the history of Beyond Slim? Why would Ray Faltinsky, I think Sal Faltinsky, I can't pronounce these guys' names, sorry. But why did Ray, after all these years in direct sales, founder of Free Life, all these companies, why would he make a shift? And that's what I want to look at. I want to give a little bit of where Ray came from, get a little bit of an idea where Beyond Slim came from, and then give you something to go on. Because if people would take the time to do a little bit of due diligence to better understand your founders, your C-suite team, what is their history, you'd very quickly realize, okay, do I want to plant my flag here? Can this be a long-term thing or not? I also think it's good to understand a little bit of the history of direct sales over the last decade at least, and understand why sometimes founders start in one direction and then go a different direction. Because what I'm seeing after this weekend is people saying, again, it's a scarcity mindset worldview, or maybe we could call it a separate worldview. It's us against them. It's they did it to us again, and that's not actually, I think, what's happened here. I think there's a lot of history that if people would have looked at it, they would better understand what the future might hold. So let's give a quick rundown on Ray. If you guys don't know, Free Life International was really the first company that he came out. Him and Kevin Faulkner had launched that company back in the 90s, I think, because we were supporting them in early 2000 over at ProStep, and we were doing lead generation, building websites. So at that time, they were really starting to pull some good momentum actually there. And Ray's background was he got his law degree from Yale. So, I mean, he's very adept to the legal side. And in the couple of times that I've talked to him over the years, that was one of the things that I thought was very impressive, is because that could help a company stay out of the regulatory spray that we see sometimes. And for the most part, it worked good for Free Life. There was a time period, I'm thinking, I wrote it in the notes. We're going to put this article up over at talkgigs.news. I'm looking here. It was 2009 when the class action suit hit Free Life, and it was because Dr. Earl Mendel, got hit for false advertising. The question was, is he over promoting the claims for the product, the goji juice? Was he over promoting the amount of money that could be made from the compensation plan? It did not. The class action suit wasn't about fraud. So I need you to understand that. It was about the claims. Were the claims being over promoted? Was it more of the lure of easy money? And, Free Life did, I think, a little over $1 billion accumulative over the years that they were there. 2017, 2018, right in that time period, Ray and Kevin sold the company to Youngevity, and Youngevity bought the juice. They bought the cosmetic brand and started to build something from that. And Ray disappeared for a few months. I can't tell you he disappeared for years. He just took some time off, and then he came back to launch his next company, and it was a direct to consumer company. Now here's where the history starts to take a shift. In that time off, Ray had realized, hey, there's a different way of marketing our products. They went into the health and wellness, energy drinks, which was coming on big, as you guys all know back then. And they got into direct to consumer, Amazon, Walmart.com, stuff like that, and started to realize, hey, through this influencer marketing model and through directly selling to the consumer, we cut a lot of expenses. We cut out babysitting the organization. What are they saying? What not they're saying, so that you get to cut down on your compliance team. And they made a big splash. Now, not without controversy there too. I think they did close to $100 million in sales. And I don't know if they sold that brands off or where that company went. I just don't remember, to be honest. But what happened there was he really did take a pretty advocate type of turn, where he was talking about putting clean products together for people, putting products together that would help with the obesity rate, take the sugars and stuff out of these energy drinks, focus this thing forward. But it was highly caffeinated. So the health and wellness on the functional side of these drinks, these monster drinks, energy drinks, all that, the whole concept was, let's put out something healthy. Back then, Vima was rocking it really good, and they had the Verve, which really was a healthy energy drink. So people started saying, you've got too much caffeine in it and stuff like that. And he went from there, settled down, backed off a little bit, and then all of a sudden, he started pushing this new mission-driven re-innovation called Beyond Slim. And one of the big things that Ray had come out with in this company here was he started showing the pitfalls of network marketing. And by 2020, when they launched this right after COVID, we saw a lot of regulatory interaction. We saw that some of the companies out there were being hit hard. The regulators were going after claims of all kinds. They had the new an old rule, but they put it back into play, the penalty authority side of it, where they were nailing people for individual claims. So they weren't trying to put companies out of business. They were hitting them. And he said, look, we're going to do this different. We're going to do this better. We're not going to be traditional MLM. We're going to put together, they trademarked this or registered it, really. It's called, where is it at in our notes here that they did that? Do you know? Yeah, Beyond Slim trademarked their model, which was a retail model. So they were promoting the retail side of this thing. And I'm looking in the notes that I put down here, where he was really pushing this forward. And it was mission driven, but they wanted to do retail social selling. That's what they were trying to do. They wanted to blend a little bit of the network marketing. Let's build a team. Let's do all this. But they put most of the commissions in that front commission for the person. And this is not new. It's kind of going back to the future type, because in the old days, that's how it was. When we had the old directs with Amway, Shackley, Tupperware, and all that, most of the money was made from those hostesses or from that rep in the field. And Ray was trying to get back to that and to build something there. But I believe what's happened is it did not grow the way they anticipated it to grow. I think they were doing good retail sales. I think that there was people making money, but I don't think that they had that melodic rise, that you get. You go for the geometric progression where these big MLM leaders are going to come in and build your company, and they're going to build depth. And if you go back a few years, when Advocare made their settlement with the FTC, one of the big things that came out of that was the forensic accounting report that really did show that you could make on the bottom line as the company the same amount of money as if you had this giant network marketing. And Advocare said, look, if that's the case, we're going to pay the people making the sales. We're going to put out great products, and we're going to go direct to consumer. Advocare today is one of the biggest advertisers on TikTok, and they have clean products. Athletes use them at every level. And they did away with the network marketing. Since then, we have seen more and more traditional network marketing companies either shifting to the hybrid market model like Ray tried to do, or they're going to this new direct to consumer. I can tell you that one of our strategic partners that we work with, we have been able to put a lot of products on Amazon. And these are mainstream network marketing companies that say, look, we want to go out there. We want to gate our brand on these third-party sites, Walmart.com, Amazon. We know that we can make money. We know that we can We can sell the products. We know that we don't want the reps just over there doing that all the time. And in most of our clients' cases, they sell at retail plus 10%. And then they take that money and they do conventions and they do stuff over here. Those customers end up inside of the compensation structure somewhere being taken care of networkers. Not every company can do this. And when I look at the most current news that came out over the weekend, it happened last week, Beyond Slim decided to cut out their retail social marketing and go directly traditional affiliate. Well, guess what? That's what Ray was doing before inside of his energy drink company. So this could all have been seen if people look at it. Now, you may say, okay, Troy, could it have been prevented? I think it probably could if Ray and his C-suite team would have seen a growth in the company because there's a lot more networkers. If you have more networkers who are building a business and they're attracting people in the correct manner, then your customer base grows, not just inside the compensation structure. The goal these days is to get some type of a ratio. It could be anywhere from 3-to-1 to a couple of companies that we've worked with. It's 32-to-1 customers to reps, people that say, I want to be on the product. I don't care about making money. The product makes a difference. This is a tough call. One of my dear mentors, Richard Brook, will tell you it's a balancing act because, what comes first, the customer or the rep? And there's nothing wrong with reps going out there and just marketing the opportunity. But at the same time, other people will say, no, you need to have more customers than you have reps. There is no law on this. First of all, there's nothing called MLM law or network marketing law. There's nothing like that. There's no such thing as a Ponzi or a pyramid law. There's tests that they use, and then they define that and they go forward. So when we look at this, it's like you've got a CEO and a founder with a Yale law background. He has a huge tenure in direct sales from the 20th century into the 21st century. He has to be able to balance what's best for the company, what's best for the field. At the end of the day, the company's always going to win because that's where he's invested his money. That's the legacy for his family. This is the tough part is, I didn't see it coming. Most of the time we don't. We're so focused on building our business that we forget about the fact, hey, the company needs to balance. Top leaders, they're focused on mentoring and growing their organization, helping you. They're trying to be a liaison with the company. But in current years, we've seen even that hasn't worked. We saw that with Modere. We saw it with Rodan and Fields, companies that said, we're just ripping this thing apart and we're going to go a different direction. Does it mean network marketing is dead? No. But I do believe we're going through a systematic shift. And we have seen this, I'm going to say probably about every 20 to 25 years, the community or the industry of direct sales has shifted. We shifted from, the old peddlers that were in the wagons to door-to-door salesmen, to the party plans, to the directs, to all of a sudden in 95, we started using technology to where today we still call them distributors, but you never have product in your hand. Everybody buys from the replicated website. And if you are selling products outside of the replicated website, there could be a clause in your terms and conditions that says don't do that, because the company wants to be able to control from point A to the consumer. That's the way it is, point A to point B. So it saddens me that there's probably a handful of people that this affects. The majority of the people over at Beyond Slim, this probably doesn't affect because statistics from the Direct Sales Association shows that the majority of people in every company are either consumers looking to get a discount to buy the product because they really like the product, or they're a part-time rep who's making more sales than they are building a team. Where this affects people are those professional network marketers who are out there building a team. They bring a lot of people into the company. They've really structured themselves well. They're really facilitating themselves as a leader, going out there and building a sales organization, and now they lose it. That's the part that's devastating. And we're going to carry on and follow this story a little bit more. because I want to dig deep enough to fully understand why this was done. Matter of fact, it was done so fast, if you will, from the outside. I'm sure there was a lot of due diligence on the backside, but most terms and conditions, policies, and procedures say there's a 30-day before something like this takes place. So I'm very interested to see how the field is actually affected. Is this something that the company just now made the announcement and it goes into effect in 30 days? Or was this right before a time where compensation was going to be paid out and they won't have to pay out the compensation? That's the key. We did do a due diligence. We see no lawsuits out there. We see no public investigations from any regulator. So this really does seem to be an economic decision that was made by Ray and his team. So if anybody's got information, send us a DM. We're going to continue to cover this and see where it goes. So live well, finish strong. We'll see you on the next live.